morning. We are back again. This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Thank you very much for always following this program wherever you are. It's a rainy Monday morning in the Gambia, West Africa. And, you know, we have to come to work and do the needful because this is what we sign up for. So I'm with Mam Nabuka. Good morning. How is your rainy Monday morning?
I love it.
You love it, yes.
I mean, we're always dealing with the heat all the time. Having a bit of rain, cool air, I welcome it.
Yes. I mean,
with open arms.
At least the atmosphere, it's going to change a little. I mean, yesterday was really a very hot, really hot day. So, Mr. Adedrame, how are you? Are you prepared, I mean, to be rocking your rain boots?
I am rocking.
Or are you still rocking them?
I'm rocking them right now. I could put them on the table to show people, but unlike Mam Nabu, I hate it when it rains because, yes, it cools down the temperature, but there are so many places you cannot drive because they're flooded.
Right.
And if you are a driver, this is the worst, honestly. My cousins have a place in Brufut. When I want to meet the caretaker, I have to tell him, meet me at the junction, because I can't drive down the road.
You can't, yes.
It's only maybe 500 meters, but so many dips in there are completely, it's like a series of mini lakes. Yeah. Horrendous, I hate it.
For me,
I can't even pretend.
For me, the rainy season, as I was coming this morning, I was on one of the drainage system, those slabs they're covered. Right. But some of them were not covered, like they are not covered. Yes. You know, and there was water to the mouth of the drainage system. So I was like, okay, how about if a person don't know and, you know, accidentally fall inside? You know?
This happened to me. I fell inside.
Oh my God. Oh my, you see? You see?
I fell inside the drainage.
My
it was
God.
The scariest. Why don't they
Mama.
cover it?
Oh, that was really a crazy day for you.
It was. It was very scary.
On Friday when I was driving home by Paradise View along Bertel Harding Highway, a vehicle had actually gone into one of those.
Yes, it happened.
Tipped. Quite a big vehicle, a kind of minivan that maybe 20 passenger seater van, and it had just tipped over into one of those.
That happened.
It's very dangerous. You know,
yeah, so I think it's important for us to cover it. At some point, you will realize the water is not even flowing.
Can we talk about also people littering inside the
which doesn't help.
That's what's flooding.
Yeah, we keep talking about
because the littering backs up when the rains come because of the litter. The water doesn't flow. It backs up onto the streets, onto the roads, and
so this is what is really happening.
Yeah.
So viewers on the program will do the African code. Then we will be talking to Adedrame, and he'll be the newspaper review guest. And UDP's withdrawal from the coalition. What's next for the United Democratic Party? And of course, we'll be talking to Haji Suwane, Youth Rep President, UDP, and Kemo Bojang, Deputy Leader for Political Matters and Media Relations, UMC, and of course, Ibrahim Nyang, Administrative Secretary, GDC, Professor Yerombalo, Chairman, Coalition Task Force Committee, Mediation Committee. So quite a lot of, packed guests today. And the conversation is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, there's like 100 different angles to this story, and of course we'll get into it when we get into it.
But mental health law reform. We'll be talking to Jibril Gando Balde from the Ministry of Health. But first, let us look at our African code. Mam Nabu.
So we have an interesting one today, and it goes, the child who is carried on the back does not know how far the journey is. I guess the blindness of privilege.
Which part of Africa is this? But anyway, I think Mam has already started the conversation. Yeah, so carry on.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to talk about experiences that you haven't really walked a part of, you know, especially when it comes to people who do a lot of caregiving, leadership roles. You know, there's a lot of times when people judge them for decisions that they make that we don't really understand because you don't know what difficulties were involved.
You haven't walked in their shoes.
You haven't walked in their shoes, yeah. So that blindness of being in a privileged position where you don't have to be in that place where you have to make those decisions. I guess that's what it's talking about.
Yeah, Ade, so what do you think?
Yeah, very much. I mean, it speaks a lot to privilege, and also if things are made easy for you, when the time comes for you to have to do something, suddenly you find you can't do it because it's already been laid on a plate for you. It might be because your parents always bought you, you know, whatever was the latest gadget or the latest toy or the latest phone. And then one day you have to go out into the world and work for yourself and earn a living for yourself and provide for your own family. And suddenly you realize, oh, my parents did all this for me and I thought it was easy.
Yeah.
Now I'm realizing that it's not as easy as it looks. And you can extend it to so many things, but I think this is pretty much, you know, speaks to that.
Yeah. You know, when we were small children, you know, we just, I mean, see food, you know, on the table, you know, when it is 2:30, whether dad have it or not, we will eat lunch, you understand?
Yeah.
Without realizing, okay, probably dad is struggling a lot,
Yeah.
you know, for us to get food and you will give it to them no matter what, you understand?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you are not, if you don't go through challenges, sometimes you will never know how people maneuver to get certain things to you. But when you get into this situation, that's when you realize, okay, this was a blessing in disguise.
I'm always grateful to my parents for the fact that my father wanted us to learn this lesson from the earliest age. So even when before he became a minister, he was a very highly paid lawyer. And all our friends used to get all the latest toys, the latest gadgets. And, you know, he would always say to us, yeah, but did you ever come and ask me for a book and have me tell you no? So what he used to do at the end of every month, he used to put us in the car and he would go around all these children who couldn't pay their school fees, who couldn't buy their school uniform. He wanted us to see the people who didn't have the things that we took for granted, you know? And that lesson really sunk in with all of us because suddenly we realized that getting the latest toy wasn't the most important thing. As you said, some of those people couldn't even put food on their tables. And he used to say to us, I want you to see where the money goes and maybe you'll stop complaining. And so it became a bit of a joke with us, you know, because at the end of the day or 3 or 4 days, he would say, so what have you learned? And we used to joke, we used to kind of whisper to each other, let's just tell him that you like giving away money.
Yes.
You know, of course, he would say, okay, no. But seriously, what did you learn? And then, of course, we learned about, you know, people who didn't have and so on. And I've always been grateful to my father for teaching us that lesson. And I would always be grateful to him for that.
Yeah. You know, sometimes you have to allow your children to see how hard the world is.
Yeah.
I mean, let them not,
that's a necessity.
let them not get things easily sometimes. Because there'll be a day you will not be there and they have to stand on their own.
That's it.
You know?
That's exactly it.
Yeah. So we've all gone through, you know, those kind of situations. I am pretty sure our parents will not just you know, allow us to do whatever we feel like or whatever we do. So sometimes, you know, you can even deny your child from going out to play football. You know, sometimes the things he loved best, I mean, you deny him. I mean, because you want him to learn. Nothing comes very easy, Ma'am Nabu.
Yeah. It's part of discipline. Time is the best experience. And I think a lot of us, like when we were younger, we would wonder, oh, my parent is not doing this for me. They're not doing that for me. So like Mr. Ade said, letting them know this is what's out there in the real world so that when you grow up, you will not have that rude awakening that this and this and this and that. It's very important. It's a necessity to me.
Yes.
In my opinion.
So viewers, at this point, we will take a short break. And after the break, then we will take a look at the newspapers. We acknowledge our sponsors and we'll be right back.
Biggest network with the cheapest tariff in the Gambia, and enjoy crystal clear calls and super fast internet at the cheapest tariff, only with QCell. Rush now and grab your free QCell SIM card today from any of our care centers near you. QCell, the biggest network with the cheapest tariff. QCell Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. In December 2026, Gambians head to the polls to choose a president, and history may hang in the balance. As the day draws near, every week, right up to Decision Day, QTV will lead the political conversation. And nobody breaks it down like QTV. Our team of experts will help you understand the results as QTV brings you Decision 2026, a weekly program dissecting the issues, driving the debate, and giving Gambians a front row seat to the hottest topics for the defining election of our time. Hear differing views, put forward and challenged, manifestos dissected and explained. Stay informed, stay engaged. Stay tuned to QTV for everything you need to know about this year's election. Decision 2026, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Only on QTV.
Q Money is changing the game with mobile money payment. Now, you can pay your QCell mobile broadband plan faster, easier, and way more convenient with your Q Money wallet. Just open the Q Money app or dial *323#. Select option 4 to buy or pay your broadband plan in seconds. No stress, no lines, no last-minute panic. Whether you're streaming your favorite shows, browsing the web, or working from home, stay connected without missing a beat. Stay connected the easy way with QMoney's QCell mobile broadband payments anytime, anywhere. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Senior Carpet. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Obalde. Now we'll head to some of the stories, but we have Seth Mati Jau here with us. Seth Mati, good morning.
Good morning, brother.
It's good to have you. How are you living this rain?
I'm enjoying it. I mean, it's part of the season.
It was super hot yesterday, the atmosphere. Really hot.
Certainly, the day before it was.
Yeah.
Temperature was like
Saturday
crazy.
Right, yeah, maybe I wasn't out yesterday, so I did not notice.
Oh,
I
you
was
didn't
mostly
notice?
indoors, yeah.
Wow.
And then
He's lucky to have air
Saturday, you
cool
could
in
feel
his
it.
house.
not air cool. It's just sitting down and
Yes. So our proverb, the child who is carried on the back does not know how far the journey is. Seth
Just
Mati.
to tell you, all of us have had a go at it.
We've dealt.
So he wants you to
We've
have
dealt
a go.
with it, so we want to hear from you.
I know this is a normal one, and usually it's an intergenerational conversation mostly. For me, that usually, literally, kids that are carried at the back, you are carried, so you don't know the struggles, the experience of the person carrying, and all of those issues. And I think the code is basically, the proverb is basically emphasizing that. But of course, the one at the back must always be patient, must also understand the reality. For me, I think in a more simpler form, that's what I get from it.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I think we all agree
Yeah.
the same point. So let's take a look at the Observer 24. President Barrow on the main headline urges youth to drive innovation, reject irregular migration at National Summit. We expect the president to come out and say these things. I mean, each president will say it. We do not expect the president to say, youth, please embark on the irregular migration. I mean, these are things that we'll say every day and that we'll be hearing every day. Said Mati.
No, I mean, I think the conversation is like the youth, if you tell them to leave something, you have to provide them with something. And I think the conversation is now we're moving towards innovation and all of those things. But whether President Barrow should tell them, don't take the irregular migration and all that, I think he should. I mean, and I think at some point in Mahmouda, one of his rally, he mentioned that and people were saying he shouldn't. I said that's what he's supposed to do as a president. Sometimes when things become so concerning, and this migration is more of an individual choice, decisions that people have to make and all of those. And at the end of the day, the government and everybody, all of us in society is playing. So sometimes is how do you counter these narratives of people wanting to leave by providing them with opportunities that they can see. And I think innovation, looking at what was happening, that's the focus, because mostly young people are interested in those issues. They are technical, they are smart. And so how do you harness that democratic dividend, demographic dividend? I think those are the issues that we need to talk about.
Yeah, Mr. Ade, would you like to comment?
I keep saying every time this comes up, he was speaking at an event, a summit, youth summit on Saturday. And very much innovation was highlighted about how the rest of the world is innovating and we shouldn't be left behind. Lots of young people here have shown that they can also innovate, and he wanted them to kind of build on that. But of course, inevitably, a lot of the focus ends up being about migration. And it's a complex thing here in the Gambia, and I say this, it's not that long ago where, you know, irregular migration has become such an obsession that you can have immigration officers sent on a course and effectively they go the back way. They decide not to return. That had been, and then recently for the Commonwealth Games, so many Gambians were denied visas because the authorities say, look, a lot of your people come here and they don't go back. And so some of those people have jobs. They're not all without jobs.
Yeah.
Those immigration
So what
officers
is that
certainly
telling you about the system?
That's why I said it's complex, because it's not, you know, nobody's going to work in immigration and earn lots of money, right? And so they might think that maybe if I go and pick fruit in Spain, I'll earn more than I'm earning as an immigration. Well, not, I might, you will. Now, is that a dignified job? Is that what you want to be doing? Because if you go in this so-called back way, you haven't gone through official, regular channels. It's very unlikely that you can work in a regular job. So you're they're paying you under the counter. They're going to pay you less than they really should be. It's still more than you're getting here. And you have to weigh up things as to whether, for example, if you go to a country like Sweden, no official body will employ you unless you can speak Swedish, right?
Integrated, yeah, integration.
Even though everybody when I went there, I've been there 4 or 5 times. Every time I go in the shop, I never presume. I always say to people, do you speak English? And they always say, they don't just say yes, they always say, of course, because they learn it from primary school. But nonetheless, to work officially in any job, you have to speak the language. Otherwise, you're working in these back room,
Yeah, but I
under
mean,
the
you can
cover
see,
things.
I mean, there are many people that you know working in those informal jobs is better than working in an office.
Essentially, is what, and that's kind of
Individual choice,
what drives the thing. So yes, the president is right to say to them, and he's right to encourage them. There's another story about on the same paper, which kind of sort of taps into that, government to award scholarships to 1,318 TVET. Students. They're trying to, sort of.
They're trying a lot. I was going to mention that because
Right.
there's a lot of investment in skill building in the youth, and usually the question will circle around, what are the funding or structures in place that when these students are done, they have like places to go to where they can exercise these skills and earn money. But at the end of the day, we were talking about this last week, irregular migration, and I was wondering if it's attitudinal, because at the end of the day, they would still want to go outside. To earn there instead of in the country where they can exercise.
You see,
their skills.
I think traveling using irregular migration is even more than just to get a job.
Yeah, I mean, I went, as people can see, I had
think
a
it's
haircut.
more than get a job.
I had a haircut on Saturday, and as I sat in the barber stool getting my haircut, a guy walked in who I knew from one of the banks at the bottom of Caraba Avenue. And we started this conversation and he said, and that guy's worked in that bank since I've been in the Gambia. That's 7 years now. And he said if he had the chance to go, he would go.
See?
I was like, I was like, okay, I
It's
give
not
up.
simply black and white.
It's
very
so complex. It's so complex about what, and he said he was blatant about it. He said no. He said I would go if I had the chance. And he said the only thing that stops him is because he's seen the dangers. He's seen some of the. I said many people see those and they still go because they always assume that they will be the ones. Who will
they'll
make
be
it
the lucky
through.
one.
They'll
Yeah.
be the lucky
The
ones.
grass is greener on the other
This
side.
guy has worked in a bank since I've been in the Gambia.
But that makes the whole debate about unemployment with migration very, untenable for me. That's why I said, it's not always about the lack of job that is forcing people to go. It is people that have money. Because the boat is not free.
It's not free.
You have to pay something to
$2,000
go. But I think the broader conversation for me is how do we, like he was talking about, the young people now, they are interested in skills building. They want to be their own bosses. And I think this whole 1,000 TVET grant is about the RISE project, which is also trying to support that aspect. We did the initial research across the country for the World Bank, and this is what young people were telling us. We want to work in skills. We want to do things, by ourselves. And so, and not only about those that are going in the formal Western education, but even those in the Arabic madrasa, they should be also part of that. Because at the end of the day, those are the whole issues that we need to bring to the.
Last night, do you get gets asylum syndrome. Someone said it's the get quick asylum syndrome. I mean, probably.
I've mentioned this because when I was in the UK, there were two countries that I was always asked to go and speak to people who had gone to the UK, from Sierra Leone and from the Gambia. Now, this was in the 90s and early 2000s when Yahya Jammeh was
seeking
here.
asylum?
Seeking asylum. And they would always claim that, you know, I was a member of UDP or this or that. They probably weren't. In fact, 99.999% of them were not. But I always used to, you know, I was asked to kind of, you know, speak to these people, kind of interview them and so on. And I always supported them. You know, after a while, I thought, you know what, I'm being a bit of a fraud here, because I would always ask them to tell me the true story. And I can tell you, not a single one of those people, the story they told the officials was the real story. They just wanted to get out. They wanted to get away, both in Sierra Leone and also in Sierra Leone we had the war, so that was an easy excuse. But after a while, I stopped attending because I didn't want to be part of the deception.
Right.
I knew why they were doing it, but I felt I was being dishonest.
Yeah.
By saying to the authorities, yes, this guy, yeah, they burnt down the village, they killed his parents, when I knew it wasn't true.
Yeah.
The parents had actually funded him.
So how did you manage?
How did I manage what?
I
just stopped. I just told them I didn't want to do it anymore, and for them to stop calling me, and they could call somebody else. Yeah, my conscience kind of
will not allow you.
Didn't allow me to.
Yeah, so
that was.
Let's talk about summer classes. I mean, schools have closed.
You mean rain season?
Yes, and now the kids have to go back to summer classes.
I feel like this is the second time this already has mentioned this summer thing.
So after going through school, I mean, for months, and then now this is the final exam, schools have closed, kids are supposed to go on holidays. Now schools are telling them you have to go back and still study again. So it means schools have not closed, because, the kids will still come and ask you for lunch. They still ask you for all those things. Last night I had a very interesting conversation.
I was about to ask that question.
I had a very interesting conversation with my boy.
Yeah.
I said to him, you know what I want you to do this summer? He said, no. I said, there is a plumber guy. I want you to go and follow him. I'll tell him so that he can teach you on how to do plumbing. You understand? He said to me, no, I want to go and do a different thing. You understand? He said there's an institution, at Abuko. They do this engineering stuff. He wants to go and do that. You understand? I prefer for him to do that than going back to school again.
Mam Nabu asked a very important question, is it compulsory? And I was going to ask that because I travel to work, and since the schools have closed, I see how empty the streets are. So I don't know whether it's compulsory. It can't be.
They will tell you it's going to be a continuation of your lessons.
Right.
If you're going to grade 8, my son is going to grade 8 now.
Right.
So it will be a continuation when they resume school. So you see, it's going to be.
It cannot be. I mean, you can prepare the kid to
I don't think
be,
they're allowed to do that.
but not to be a continuation, because it becomes problematic. But for me, we used to go to summer school. Summer schools are usually for extracurricular. It should be for fun. It should be. I mean, I went to St. Teresa's. St. Teresa's was the space for that, where you had the children against AIDS, children promoting education and democracy, all these extracurricular activities. And during the summer, you do a lot of things. I mean, there were Lenahan Society, that used to organize, and a lot of us learned issues around public speaking, engagement through those processes. And I think so. Last time I was listening to the minister, I think she's encouraging
kids,
to be more careful, to be doing all those stuff. So I think there needs to be, during the summer, it should be organized in more of extracurricular, not just book and pen and all of that.
Building skill sets.
Because building skill sets, all of those issues are interesting, because these are the things that kids want. And I think based on our study on TVET becoming something very interesting for the kids, there's a clear example of how you build that.
I mean, as the president was addressing things like innovation, some of the things that came up at that summit were about using AI in the way that other countries are using AI to do things. Here, a lot of students, we went to the university, and almost every student, we said, I just put it in ChatGPT and whatever it gives me, I present to my lecturer. They want to go beyond that, because if you see how AI is being used in other countries, that's what we need to do to catch up, and we can't be left behind. And so, it's good, as you said, extracurricular. And I have to say this, by the way, since I came to the Gambia, is the only time I keep hearing summer. I grew up in Sierra Leone. I went to school in Sierra Leone. I never heard the rain season referred to as summer.
So what?
Oh, yeah,
We had
summer.
dry season
Summer
and
class.
rain season.
Yeah, but I think
in
it's the
Europe.
influence
And the
of
summer
people.
jam.
Of Europe, of Britain.
Yeah, you know, when they will go back to
For their
Britain for
summer
summer,
holidays, for their summer
things,
holidays.
So when they are leaving, then this will be summer. They are leaving for summer.
It's summer over there, a rain season here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's now
But-
seems to be the Gambian
But I think
thing.
it's even the use of the summer is more recent than, you know,
Oh,
because
right.
it has
Okay.
always been the rainy season, dry and
Yeah,
rainy
yeah,
season.
quite.
That's what we know growing up.
Yeah, quite.
You know, maybe it's the Gen Z that will bring this
Summer
whole.
classes, just to make it look.
Let's blame Gen Z. I think. We
Yes,
should blame
so
them for
that
Gen
is
Z.
what it is. And, you know, it's important for us to focus on things that are important. Sometimes these kids, you need to tune them very well so that they can be what you want. For me, actually, I really want my kids to focus on skills. You know, I've seen the unskilled one and I've seen the skilled one. You know, for me, if I was given the opportunity from when I was much younger, I would have at least gained knowledge on a particular area. Yeah, it would have helped. So, I mean, SRFAL breaks silence on 700,000 scam allegation. You know, last week I've seen a video
Which is from which
where
paper?
a lady
Which paper?
mentioned SRFAL.
Which paper is this?
That's the Standard.
Okay.
SRFAL, Mama Kande, and Talib Bensouda. But according to her, she said 3 of these people, one of them, you know, is accused of scamming some of the 700,000. Now, SRF also clarified. He said, no, this is a political expenditure. This is a guy that spent. Now he said he needs it money, and it's almost $2 million. But I've paid until it is left with $700,000. Now we are paying. So if they said it's a scam, you know, that's another problem.
It's in politics, it's not usually 2 sides to every story. There are like 5 sides to every story. And so you'd have to get to hear from all sides of it.
Yeah.
You know, politics is like that, you know, unfortunately. You know, politics doesn't have a good...
If there's no legal proceedings
Uh,
involved, it's
that-
all
that-
about
that-
dissent.
that he said,
So
yeah.
it's-
That's
And me, usually, I just let those things.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
Not add anything to my.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, UDP backs down. I mean, they said they'll not be part of any coalition. You know, if I mean, they are the biggest, so obviously people have to come and join them. And the flag bearership has to go to UDP.
I mean, I downloaded
Of
this
course.
from their page. Just before we came on, I downloaded this from their Facebook page. It says, it's signed by Sekou Kamara, Admin Secretary for Media and Comms, UDP. Coalition 2026 has an officially designated spokesperson and a secretariat. Anyone seeking accurate and authoritative information regarding developments in the coalition discussions should direct their inquiries to them. I will not comment on rumors, speculation, or information allegedly leaked by members of certain groups within the coalition discussions. Such matters are best addressed by Coalition 2026 spokesperson or secretariat. Yeah.
So said Mati.
I mean, I think last week I talked about this whole debate that is ongoing, and yesterday I also saw Ali talking about that in terms of party-led or candidate-led. I mean, this is a historical debate that has been ongoing since 2000s, when coalition discussions have been part of the. If you look at even the way NAT, you know, coalition 2060, all this debate has been taking place. And of course, at one point it was between, people look at it just simply between Halifa and UDP, but it's more about what kind of arrangement do parties prefer within this whole context. Of course, Halifa was the whole proponent of the coalition, I mean, the party-led and all of those things. And UDP has always preferred a party-led coalition, given their standing within the whole political frame, you know, grounded in the grassroots. So this has been the debate. And of course, more recently also, we're seeing the same debate. You know, of course, we are the biggest opposition. Everybody should come and rally behind us. And others are saying, well, it has to be, you know, we are all equal political parties. So therefore, we have to, I mean, agree on a candidate that we have to, we have to select. But this also shows the extent to which our whole political system is making it difficult for coalition building. Because at the end of the day here, you have to build coalition before going to the elections, unlike where you have the absolute majority, where people can wait until the second round and decide based on the numbers engaged. But here it has to be done before that. And this is because we have the first past the post system. So it is up to the political leaders and political to navigate, because at the end of the day, they are the ones that are trying to, you know.
Yeah, you know, in the Gambia, we act as if coalitions started when they kicked out Yahya Jammeh. Those of us who are 70 and over, you go back to the very first
1960s
cabinet.
Yes.
After 1965, Jawara brought in people from the opposition and made them ministers from other parties.
Of course.
It's not new.
Yeah.
You know, we think because of the age of the internet and we're talking coalition.
It's been here for a long time.
It's been here for the longest time, and it will be here for the longest time.
Even independence, even at independence, when we were seeking independence, it was like a coalition of the opposition and the PPP, UP and PPP. That went to that. It was like a coalition.
So, Mam Labu, do you? I mean, is this a big win for the NPP?
It seems so, and I was going to bring them actually to something Doi said that I found very interesting, that coalitions need to find real constitutional and institutional reforms instead of just focusing on regime change. And I'm wondering if that is what went wrong with this coalition. Are they following the same pattern that led to the same political fallout that happened with the 2016 coalition as well?
I was listening to Cable, I think the other time, they were like, he was on Decision 2026. Yeah, he was talking about that they are learning lessons from what happened in 2026, because 2016. Because 2016, of course, we all agree, you know, and it was more of, you know, let Jammeh go. Jammeh must go, whatever comes next. And I even remember writing a blog on Gambia, what's next, in terms of what should we think about moving forward. It's not, well, of course, for the political and everything, but for some of us, it was also about that. And I think that's where I was trying to argue that this new government, you're talking about socio-economic jobs and all of that. And I argue, like, if you look at the state of the economy, those issues of jobs, we should manage our expectations around those issues, because, of course, this new government was not going to be able to address all of those. But the reality is, of course, they have a lesson to learn from. Whether they are learning from that lesson, now they're going back to candidate the same experience again, based on what they're saying. So if they come back, it might be the same experience with Barrow again. So we don't know what is the untested way. And I saw somebody saying whether candidate-led or party-led, at the end of the day is party-led, because the candidate of the party is end up becoming...
You know, but what about public trust? Do you think there's going to be public trust in this coalition when it seems that they're a little bit divided at the end of the day?
I mean, there's an expectation from the public that, of course, to win elections, people have to form coalition. But let's not forget that NPP is not alone. NPP is also already a coalition. So what we are seeing is the coalition formation. What we should expect, maybe, perhaps going to the election, is that we might see different coalitions coming up. And that should be easy for the voters, I guess, in terms of reducing the number of candidates that people have to elect. But at the end of the day, the citizens must look at each of these candidates and then make their own decision.
I want us to look at how relevant is GDC as far as the political system of this country is concerned. In 2016, GDC was really relevant, you understand. In fact, according to what I heard, I mean, GDC took most of Yahya Jammeh's votes, because there are people that refuse to vote for the coalition, but they also refuse to vote for APRC. So their votes went to GDC. So you can see now, I mean, the stand of GDC. Are they still relevant, Mr.
I mean, like you bringing me back to some of these things I wrote in 2016, and I argued then that GDC was going to upset the election at that time, basically based on what you've said. One, the approach of their politics, but secondly, there were groups of people. I mean, why were they able to get 17%? I mean, that's a good question. Of course, most GDC members were former APRC members. So they move away from APRC. But when it came, there were people also.
Said Mati, I'll come back to you. I mean, we have a video to play quickly. We'll be back.
wala ñaan wala ma ñaan kala yuri bi da sonna de moya ketude lafta ni mobe kaf Well, more than Kitula. Left a fair and honest coalition or alliance, whatever name you call it. But coalition or alliance is skewed against UDP. And in the Nuna, Wagambian called Besolo, Belafter, be Aliate or Sitkaba. By a Kavoko. Yeah, man. Yeah, from community, man can fenti. Gambian call Lente Kuti. Gambian call Lente Kuti, and then man can parental Kadoko, okay, in Patio Pati. Parental Kadoko, Patio Pati. And not Banka to Belafter, men, Mola, Kavoko, Yo Kato. Bolanyan, Bolamanya Nakela. You repeat a son of the Moya Ketude. Laughter in the Mobe of well, more than Kitula. Left a fair and honest coalition or alliance, whatever name you call it. But coalition or alliance is skewed against UDP. And in the Luna, Wagambian called Besolo, Belafter, be Aliate or Sitkaba. By a Kavoko. Yeah, man. Yeah, from community, man can fenti. Gambian call Lente Kuti. Gambian call Lente Kuti, and then man can Voto. Laughter, fanfare yaron Kafoko. You call after him Banco Le Bondilla. Toyam Menti. It's not Karokel na UDP. Maybe Bafula Kafoko in my left patio Yaton Kaya. Nila patio Lebeni Palasoto, no. Can you Bafla Kona patio Yaton Kaya? I don't tell Neneman Kodi Kambangla. Neneman Kodi Yana Kapuni Mold after Kaplan Kafo, Olum Symbol. But not peaceful coalition. Dana kai lafta kawa ko lafta full poison for na to kasu yedun kuto mel kama ena anila principal manta of na market but on tell de ani bi de negotiation be keren bakan be mol kan nya kan ka fa yesum manga me foy be umbolan ka kunu ibe men fo kan bi kunu yakila tinyata woton kalinga men fa ngofa nan ke jongaji bob be kala nya tanga mara wona muslimu bare al kanasi al buli al doko na tara kafa kon na nana soto ni mo soto ni medbe kafla nyoma ka banko bondi ni bulda woto besi de ngabo ne dum mana soto a kabe wati juma kili allah bi an nga deburiye adu ngadon kafa ko araben tarlan adu alkana molda moñina kafako banko no alngamira banko wallahi mel bab kalim ngamira banko kuni be min to wallahi banko mira bi ngel nga banko ko ko mira to momena wonde nga banko ko mo mira to momena ital be min tole bi la ital bok mo fa nga ko beleke ni muso ela NIA sel sanka mais wadjuma awato siata tata ñim police station membe janto ten sinya jamala ya soron jeto bo be mun kanyim banko kan itel be min tole itel dol ni mele ko le soron de rol itel dol ni wona wutno mo kana fontele ko the nation's interest we saw the nation's interest before atel dol be bulula we saw the nation's interest mo menna al ko mo menna aniya jamme be kukil al kalbulo ko salien al kafalo ko kanyilu lu mena fudal ko kontel ka harule kontel la fam bi ka kontel ko the nation's interest we saw until Nimbanko la interest until Mole de Kabirun Kuno. Wala we gave our back to everything, our comfort. Come Lola Nimbanko Carbone. Rise Marco Cabo,
Well, that's the leader of the United Democratic Party there, Honorable Lawyer Hussein Zabo, addressing his party supporters. The UDP have withdrawn from the opposition coalition and raising fresh questions about unity and the future of the opposition. What happened next? We have Haji Suwane, youth president, United Democratic Party. He's currently on the line. Good morning, Haji.
Good morning, Biden.
Thank you for thank you for accepting our invitation to talk to us on QTV this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So I will not ask you why UDP withdrawn from the coalition, but I will ask you what are disagreements that leads to UDP, not agreeing to some of these conditions.
I think it was quite evident that before the UDP start any coalition discussions or negotiations, the party has put forward its principles, and among them is that we will be entering any coalition in good faith. We will definitely have respect to each and every partner in that coalition discussions. But again, UDP is known to be a party that has huge respect for the Constitution, and also in any coalition negotiations we are entering, the key principles of coalition building are something that UDP has been ever putting forward. And one of them is the common interests, which are part of shared goals we believe every coalition partner should be having in view when we are entering in any negotiations with regard to partnership to get rid of that system you are opposing. Mutual trust is something that the party has always, used as a guiding principle in terms of partnering with other parties with regard to coalition building. So, going by the coalition negotiations, the party's other position is about a party led. A party led in the sense that when you look at the coalition negotiations, or if I may use the word alliance, because in Gambia here, we don't have that, what I call 50+1 or, one has to win by majority to be in government. No. True. You just need the simple majority.
Yes.
And if it's a simple majority, we believe that our system is not going for a coalition. We need an alliance. An alliance that's going to be centered in the interest of the Gambia and the cause that we are fighting for. But if you want to say coalition, we believe that's supposed to be post-elections, which we don't have the system in the Gambia here. But regardless, if you might want to call it coalition or alliances, but we believe that the party, that is the UDP, deserve to lead such a coalition because of the work the party has done, the level of intellect the party has already produced, and the integrity of the party's leadership. Based on the grassroots we have at hand, we believe there's nothing that should deny the UDP from leading such a coalition. That is one of the disagreements we had. Again, we also tested a system that they want to put forward, and that is the same system that we are all calling that they put us into a mess. So if that is such, we believe mutual trust on a party-led, coalition building should be agreed upon by all, partners, regardless of our ideological differences.
Yeah.
But the common goal here is that we want to get rid of the system. And if you want to get rid of the system, you believe that politics is a number game.
Yeah.
You cannot downplay or belittle the party that has worked hard to gain themselves the numbers in electoral history in the past.
Yeah,
cannot be denied.
Yes, Haji, I'll just comment here. I mean, when you talk about people coming together as one party, to contest for the 2026 election, UDP will always say we are the biggest, so people should join us. Don't you think, as far as politics is concerned, even the smaller parties are very significant. They are big in their own way because we all understand, even one vote is significant in our elections.
That is why I started saying that, politics is a number game.
Yeah.
If one number is significant, then you might also, agree that 10 numbers are also very significant.
Yeah.
So if 1 + 1 will give you 2, then 2 + 10 will give you 12. So no matter what you want as far as coalition building is concerned, we believe that the principles also matter a lot. The agreed candidate list is already a lesson that Gambians have learned from. And if you are to definitely put an alternative to the current system that is there, the UDP believe not only, coalition to be built on desperation that the Gambian people deserve now.
Okay.
We should address this thing holistically instead of looking at only the way that we should remove the...
So we have a lineup of people that we're supposed to talk to on this program. So is there a room for reconciliation still?
Of course, that's why you heard about the party that saying we are still engaging partners. And that engagement will continue, and we believe there will be a room for improvement, and we believe there will be a coalition that is going to take against the current NPP government.
Yes, so thank you very much, Haji Swanev, Youth President, the United Democratic Party, for talking to us on QTV this morning.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so that's Haji there. Now we'll be talking to Kemo Bojang, Deputy Leader for Political Matters and Media Relations, UMC. So he'll also be looking, he will also be discussing the withdrawal of UDP from the coalition. We have Kemo on the line. Good morning, Kemo.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to talk to us on QTV this morning.
It's always a pleasure to be on the media to speak to the people.
Yeah, so it's not news now. UDP have withdrawn from the coalition. Can the coalition survive without the United Democratic Party?
Thank you very much for the question. First of all, I'd like to say that it's an unfortunate situation that the Gambian people have found themselves in. But we also have to acknowledge that every party has its position and we must respect it. If a particular political entity comes into a talk with a premeditated mindset, it's very difficult to compromise and to also negotiate because these are positions that the entity is not ready to compromise on. It makes it very difficult for everybody else to also position themselves. But I want to say that the Gambian opposition is bigger than one single entity, and the Gambian population is bigger than a political party. We keep hearing that numbers are important. Granted, numbers are important, but the numbers have never been able to make you win an election. I believe if that is the case, you need the smaller parties or the smaller entities more than the smaller entities need you because you have more to lose in an election. But if you feel that you cannot compromise on these positions, I have the question, why did you join the conversation in the first place? I think that makes it a bit more complicated for everyone. But I can assure you that the Gambian opposition is ready to position itself as an alternative, and the conversations are going to continue, and the discussions are taking shape. The Gambia has a border population of over 1.1 million people, as per the last numbers. So there's a lot up for grabs. So we are looking at it from a position of optimism. We are looking at it from a strategic and a statistic position, and we believe that the numbers are still in the favor of the opposition.
Yeah, so I'll allow my colleagues also
I just wanted to ask, in the case that the reconciliation doesn't take place, is there any next step for UMC? Are you thinking of anything?
Well, we are committed to the talks because it is obvious that stories have been had in this country, and generally Gambian people have said that they want a united opposition. We acknowledge and admit to these realities that this is what the people want, and United was set up in the basis that we will listen to the people because it's a people-centered movement, and this is what we are doing today. And I'd like to also say that I doubt a reconciliation will be possible, considering that UDP is not ready to compromise on its position. But we also have to understand that this is a democracy. And within the room, the majority of the parties have made their stance known. So those parties cannot and should not be pressured into changing their stance to appease a single political entity. So we are forging ahead, we are moving forward, and we believe that we will come up with a single candidate who will be able to usher change in the Gambia.
Yeah. So, said Mati, you have any question for Kemo?
I know, I mean, I'm just here to listen.
Yeah, so Ade Drame, how are you?
Kemo, in your statement there, you said something. You said the UDP need to realize that they need the smaller parties more than the smaller parties need them. Isn't it a case that actually both parties need each other if we are to be realistic? Without a compromise, I can tell you now, it's almost an impossibility that the smaller parties on their own will be able to achieve a victory. So isn't this part of the problem, that both sides is saying that you need us more than we need you? And I see on the standard coalition conveners to meet UDP today. And you said, why did they join the coalition? I guess they joined the coalition in the first place because they thought that there might be negotiation, there might be room for negotiation, or they might be able to persuade the others to come on their side. And that's what politics is all about, the art of compromise sometimes.
The question is a bit compounded, but I'll try and answer it.
I'll bring it down. Just to narrow it down to the statement, they need us more than we need them. My question is, don't you really realistically need each other?
I mean, that's the whole point where everybody accepted to be on the table. And this is where everybody was able to compromise. But what I'm saying is that you cannot ask majority to change their position to suit a single narrative. Now, our position has always been, or the coalition's position is that when we get to the table, we negotiate. Every political entity has held its position to say that this is what I want. But while the conversations are going, we are able to change those positions and we're able to compromise. Now, the whole idea of numbers, granted, it's an important factor, but numbers are fluid. For example, using Senegal as an example, the election, Macky Sall's last election, Idrissa Seck came second in the election. In the last presidential election, Idrissa Seck wasn't even in the pecking order. In fact, Pastef had outtaken him. So numbers are fluid and dynamic in politics, even in Gambia's context. In 2011, President Jammeh won with 71%. In 2016, he was less than 46%. So we cannot continue holding on to the idea that my numbers are static, because no number is static in politics. So this is one factor we have to look at. Secondly, if you say that I am going for a party-led coalition, but majority in the room, out of 20 entities, only 3 have said that they are going for party-led, and the rest have said that they are going for candidate-led, it makes it completely unreasonable to say that I will stand on my position, and if you don't agree, then we're not part of it. It's your fundamental right to say that, but it also raises the question, are you for self or are you for country? And what are you willing to compromise? And this has been our position. Now, if I say that UDP needs the bigger part, the smaller entities more than the smaller entities need UDP, what I am trying to push at is that if you look at the political or the electoral numbers that they have been using as the base of their reasons, it is more realistic to add a smaller number to the bigger number in a situation like that to win an election. But now, what do you do to persuade the smaller numbers to join you in winning that election is where the compromise comes in. But if you are not willing to compromise that, then that becomes difficult for everyone.
Kemal, can I just ask, I mean, you're saying that they are holding on to their position. Surely you are also holding on to yours. What are you willing to?
But that is the whole point.
What are you willing
on the table to negotiate?
But what are you willing to compromise?
We have compromised a lot, in my opinion, Mr. Drami.
Tell us.
Yes, but you need the chance to speak so the viewers hear what I'm saying.
Say again.
You've asked a question. I am answering.
Okay, my apologies.
Yeah.
Carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you cut me off, I wouldn't be able.
No,
to.
I apologize. Carry on.
Yes. So we have gone to the table. There are issues that came up. For example, how the weighing system will work. How are we going to have power sharing agreements? These are positions that entities were willing to compromise on based on weight and size. And if that had taken place, it was going to put UDP at an advantage. So these are things that people were willing to compromise on if we had a candidate-led system. What majority of the entities have said is that the whole idea of going with a candidate-led system was fully inclusivity of the whole process. So that's one. Two, we have seen in our political context how bigger parties absorb smaller entities in political, setups, especially when the smaller party.
I think we've lost audio in the studios here. So if they can sort that out, would be very yes.
Am I on?
Yeah. So you are on. You are back. Yes.
Yes. So there have been compromises at the table, and I don't have any problem with an entity coming and saying that this is my position. But I believe if you're going to a negotiation, you must be also be willing to compromise on some points. I have raised positions on which entities at the table have been willing to compromise on. So I believe it will only be fair that the other part also compromises. But in the end, it is their fundamental right to say that this is my position, this is what I agree to, this is what I don't agree to. But I can assure the Gambian people that the discussions are going to continue, and we believe that we will have a coalition that will contest the elections.
Thank you, Kemo, for talking to us on QTV this morning. Yes, so that's Kemo, Deputy Leader for Political Matters and Media Relations, UMC. Now let's move on. We'll talk to Professor Yerombalo, Chairman, Ibrahim Anyang, Administrative Secretary, GDC. Ibrahim is on the line. Good morning, Ibrahim.
Good morning.
Welcome to QTV this morning.
Thank you so much for joining me.
All right. So I will not waste any time asking you what do you think of UDP's withdrawal from the coalition. I will just go straight and ask you, what does this send to other parties that are part of the coalition? What message does this send?
Hello?
Hello, Ibrahim, are you getting us?
Yes. Can you repeat your question?
All right. I want to know, UDP's withdrawal from the coalition. And what was this message sent to other parties that were on the table for these coalition talks?
Basically, I think it is not a source of inspiration to any political party about the UDP exit, because the aim and the objective is to keep every opposition political party and movement in the talks, because we are talking about number here. So irrespective whether it is UDP that exit or any other political party or a movement, we consider it as a very big loss, because at the end of the day, the reason why we call for this coalition is to make sure that there won't be division in the opposition votes. So seeing UDP existing, I know there is no political entity in that room who is so much happy about this, but rather very discouraged about the UDP decision to withdraw from the talks. So because immediately they left, people have started extending their concerns, because left to every political entity in the room was for UDP to stay and for any political entity to stay. We prefer to have addition rather than to have subtraction from the talks.
Yeah. So Ibrahim, can the coalition survive without the UDP?
Yeah, basically I would say yes, because there is no political party or a movement that is bigger than what we started. Even though, to be very blunt with you, UDP has a number that we need, but at the same time, we also have numbers in the room that the UDP needs. So basically, you can see it is an interest that all of us share, and the more we are together, the better it will serve our purpose as opposition. So basically, we believe it is possible for us to move ahead without the UDP, but I think it will be far better to have UDP on the discussion and move forward, because at the end of the day, with one number that you lost can deny you from getting to State House. With any number that you have, irrespective of the size of the number, can help you to get what you want at the end of the day, because we are going by a simple majority as far as the 1997 Constitution is concerned. And we are not talking about a small number here, because UDP, in the last election, they were able to secure 238,000. And now, if they withdraw from the talks, basically that means we have already lost 200,000 of vote plus. Even though if you can project the number of electorates that are actually now, we will be with the hope that we can take it.
So do you believe smaller parties can fill the gap left by the UDP?
Yeah, possibly. It's going to be a very challenging, but we believe that we also have others that are on their way, to join the coalition. So I believe the possibility is there. One thing that I can say is, with the number that is there, we believe that number can move forward in order to secure the votes that we want for the December elections. We also have other people, a big number outside that are not part of us. And we believe that once we are ready to do what is right in the coalition, they will really be able to get the numbers of the undecided votes. And we believe with those that are coming in, because we have received so many calls that from other political parties and movements, that they are willing to join the talks. Okay. So we believe in the coming of those ones at least.
So finally, we want to know what should be the opposition's top priority going forward.
Yes, I think the top priority within the talks will be more to concentrate on any number that we can get from outside, and to re-strategize to make sure that at least we'll be able to keep everybody in the room. I think when it comes to the UDP case, we have done our best to make sure that at least we will reason with them in one line, because UDP is considered as the biggest opposition political party. Having them in any talks is a plus. So withdrawing, obviously, is not something that anybody can be very happy with. So, but I believe the main agenda now is to make sure that we will go out to get any number that will oppose President Barrow in December 2026.
Yeah, so thank you. Ibrahim Nyang, Administrative Secretary, the GDC. So thank you very much, Ibrahima and Haji and Kemo Bojang for talking to us on QTV this morning. We were supposed to talk to Professor Yerombalo, Chairman Coalition Task Force Mediation Committee, but unfortunately we couldn't reach him. Yeah, so we've heard from these three gentlemen, various parties, their stand. According to Ibrahima, UDP, actually having them part of the coalition is very significant. Their withdrawal can really affect the coalition, but nevertheless, they will still continue and still steer their affairs.
I think that's the point I was making when I was speaking to Kemo, that they need each other. And Kemo mentioned that they have made compromises. It's a pity that Haji was still not on the call, because I suspect Haji would have said that UDP have also made compromises. But I think the elephant in the room is that both sides have a red line that they will not cross. For UDP, the red line is it must be party-led. For the others, it must be candidate-led. They have to admit that is the reality. And that, because the smaller compromises, if you want, you can make those. But the big one, are you prepared to make it? You can say we compromise on this, compromise on that, but you have a central point that you are not prepared to compromise on. Both parts of this argument, if you want to call it, have.
I was actually going to ask Ibrahim that question, because obviously from the way they were all talking, unity is better, having all of them together and have it stay concrete. So what are they willing to change to make that happen?
I mean, for me, sometimes I think, unity in politics is boring.
Yes.
If I might say that, because for me, I mean, why do we...
We don't want a one-party state.
Yeah, like one-party state, form all these things, and then everybody start becoming a political business, what Nyangja will call political entrepreneurs, get their political parties, start going to Balde, forming certain things where they're not getting to the people. I'm not interested in that kind of politics. I'm interested in politics that is meaningful to the people, dynamic, engaging. But also listening to all the three, one of the things I realized, and going back to the political science literature, is how do elites make political negotiation. Very interesting for us. And I think for students of political science, basically, this is a very interesting,
great case study.
great case study in trying to understand that. And you know, in some time ago in 2024, we wrote a paper on managing political crisis in Gambia. You know, we look at how the small size of a country and how does it influence on some of these positions that we take. And then we realize that there are two things that comes up, is consensus and conflict. You know, people tend to agree and go along, things that they generally agree. On things that they disagree, it is very difficult to bring them together. And so when it comes to coalition discussions and all of this, these are some of the things that we're likely to see. And also in that paper we said, you know, borrowed from a Maltese saying, don't make enemies of your neighbor. Because of the small size of the population, people are the same, cross-cutting roles. Look at UDP, UMC today. UMC is from UDP, NPP from UD. So a lot of things are mixed. And so when it comes to the coalition building and all of those issues, it also becomes mixed and challenging. And also he was talking about, Haji was also talking about the simple majority as a system. It's not also very conducive for the kind of coalition they want to build. So for me now, the bigger question is, how are political leaders, you know, going to navigate this whole issues of conversation? It's not about we prefer this, they prefer that. Of course, if they're responding to the interests of the people based on the surveys that say coalition is good way, I mean, they have to be bigger than we want this, we want that. They have to think about it in more broadly and also look at it, because at the end of the day, party-led, candidate-led is the same led. I mean, so the broader idea is, the question should be, is it now, are we going back to 2026 where we're talking about regime change, or are we talking about system change? And so if this 2026 is about system change, what is the system that you want to change? So should the coalition be built around the system that you want to change, rather than we want to this, we want to that to defeat Barrow? No, I don't think that it should be the debate. The debate should be bigger than that.
And even with, you talk about candidate-led or party-led, even there they're playing with semantics.
Of course.
Because essentially what UDP are saying is that by party-led, we mean a party led by Dabo. So essentially, it's a candidate-led.
Candidate-led, yeah.
He's your candidate.
Yeah.
They're not saying they're not saying we're going to drop him and still say UDP should lead. No, essentially, you're saying UDP and he should lead.
I haven't seen any difference.
So
yes.
It's
So
just playing with words.
Professor Yerombalo is also on the line. As you know, Professor is the chairman Coalition Task Force Mediation Committee. Good morning, Prof. It's good to have you on QTV this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Yes. So let's delve into the conversation. What is the current status of the mediation efforts among the coalition members?
All right. On the current state of affairs, that's what you're asking.
Yes.
Yes, we are actually making steady and structured progress. And of course, based on that, we have what we call framework agreed. The parties have already signed the eligibility criteria and the coalition guiding framework. Well, this is the constitution of our coalition. And it sets the rules of engagement, the values, and of course, the principles that will guide us. The second issue is, the process also is launched. Following the adoption of the framework, the CMC had also adopted and approved the nomination forms. And this is a progress, definitely. The other one is nomination now opened. Well, as of Monday today, the CMC officially announced the opening of nominations. Now, the forms are now available to all parties and movements within the coalition process. Now, this is actually the next concrete step towards selecting our joint candidate and leadership structure. Now, but so we are also, meticulous to have that, or to make people understand that, in coalition talks, we have to be very much meticulous with sensitive issues. And of course, also we also have to avoid speculations. And then we choose what we call, dialogue. And it's never an easy process, but then it's also a compromising issue. So that is it. So, and we are actually having differences as a coalition. Definitely, people have different egos, people have different positions, different standing, and that is why our mandate as CMC is to mediate, to negotiate, and of course to also consolidate. Now, we have differences. That is why we are trying to mediate these differences. We are trying to negotiate the differences. We have positions, different egos, you know. So these are things that we have, and each of them have their own structure. Now, because they have different structures, and those are the structures that we will put together and consolidate. And it is never an easy task, but then that is what we have now. And that is the politics is also there. Where we see the opposition, our opposition, meaning the incumbent will also stand out there and talk about, try to throw stones. But that is politics. But what I have actually seen in the last 14th strategic session is definitely a shared understanding that no single party can defeat the incumbent alone, and no single party can also develop the Gambia alone. So the CMC job is to mediate those differences and keep everyone focused on the bigger picture. Now, our doors are also open, you know. The process remains inclusive. And with the framework sign and nomination now open, we believe that we are on the track to present a united front to the Gambian people. So that is what we are now.
Yeah, so did the coalition members receive any formal letter from the United Democratic Party before their withdrawal?
Thank you very much for this important question. Yes, what I want to start by saying, my attention has actually been drawn to reports in some media houses, if you like, quality media outlets, including the Leral Times. No sooner had the UDP in the person of Lamy announced they are walking away, than in few minutes we received the report on the Leral Time about what happened. So to our surprise, it was very surprising. And but let me also say that the United Democratic Party withdrawal from the ongoing talks have been, people are giving a lot of speculations, people are talking all around about that. But I wish to clarify the position of the Coalition Mediation Committee as follows. One, it cannot be called a withdrawal at this stage. It can be premature to be called a withdrawal at this stage. Why? Because what happened on Saturday, last Saturday, was that the UDP representative, Mr. Lamin Mane, informed the meeting, you know, that they were walking away from the session. Now, we have not received any official documentation or any official communication to that effect. So our position now, yes, others are talking that they withdraw, but we have not received any official communication to that effect. So we can really say that no official letter has been received right now until we will now come back to the public and announce that they withdraw officially. But that has not been received. Now, as chairman of the CMC, I confirm that we have not actually received this official letter from the UDP leadership communicating a withdrawal. Now, until we receive such a letter from the official mandated to represent UDP in these talks, the party remained part of the process. Yeah. So it is important also to balance this, you know, an analysis. The commitment and the attendance of, you know, attendance record of the UDP on this coalition talks. Definitely, you know, Saturday marks our 14th strategic session. Now, the UDP had not missed a single meeting, neither the task force meeting on Wednesdays, nor the general meetings on Saturdays. Now, we value that that level of commitment in them. So that is it. As I said, our doors are open still, please.
Yes, Mama, do you have a question for Prof? Okay. All right. So, Prof, thank you very much for talking to us on QTV this morning.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So that's Professor Yerom Balo there, Chairman, Coalition Task Force Mediation Committee. You know, it's like the committee is very confident in what they are doing. They are ready to move ahead. You know, that's the only way here. Probably UDP might come back and say, okay, we've considered this and that and that and that. We will be back again. Nobody knows. As far as they didn't receive any letter.
Based from like a lot of the things that all of them said, they seem to have very positive. They seem to think that it will be a very positive outcome. That UDP will come back and everything will progress as intended.
It may be that they haven't even walked away because they have not formally walked away or formally withdrawn. There's been no letter saying we are withdrawing. And that's why I read this thing at the beginning from Sekou Kamara, the admin secretary, said they're not going to comment on rumors, speculation or information. Contact the Coalition 2026 Secretariat. Now, he just as easily could have said, I hereby confirm that we had withdrawn. He didn't say that. So, you know, it's like they're kind of keeping us hanging until we see an official letter or withdrawal, then they haven't withdrawn.
because the coalition talk is not as easy as it is, because there is an expectation from the public. Yeah, and that's why sometimes I question public expectation inside. Why do you have to put everybody together? Because generally people here expect that people to work together. Even if you get defeated, you join the winning party, winning side to work. But again, the issue for me again is nothing is clear still. Nothing is clear, especially from Professor Mbalo. But of course, then listening to the initial speakers, it seems like it's a done deal.
Yeah,
and this also raises the question, I think, where Davo is talking about that, you know, like it seems like the UDP is being seen to be like the negative side here, and therefore, you know, you have others. But of course, even in terms of the conversation, I mean, in coalition discussion, politics will be out there, so people will start to elbow each other out in that process. But for me, the most basic lesson here is that moving towards 2026, I am going to see that we might have multiple coalitions coming up, and we shouldn't ignore the NPP, because NPP itself is a coalition. So as we're talking about coalitions, opposition, coalition,
it's a coalition.
Is a coalition. So perhaps this is the
it's more of a party-led coalition.
Well, yeah, this of the coalition, but then that is easier for them. You know, with this whole conversation of party-led, and while these people are discussing who is in, who is out, they are distributing motor
vehicles. I mean, to pick up on that, and also to pick up on something that Kemo said about fluidity in terms of, you know, politics is fluid. He's absolutely right. You know, we're only in July. The election is not until December. They have enough time to sit in a room and realize for all of them what is at stake and what could be lost if they do not make the ultimate compromise, because let's be honest, that is what needs to be made. You cannot, my friend Choi is watching, because he and I had this discussion. You know, he swore blind that they would never break out.
So, Mr. Adedrame, do you know sometimes you can predict politicians? You can predict what happened. There are people who said Jomai and Sonko, they will not last. Jomai is going to form his party as time goes on, and it happened.
I said it from day one.
I mean, politics
it's politics is like that. And you know, even at the time as I was saying it, I was given the analogy of what happened here in the Gambia. You know, when Barrow, when they had their coalition agreement, we didn't see it. We've never seen it. But it was assumed 3 years he would stand down. That never happened. Because once you get to that position, it's very difficult to give it up. And the assumption had always been that Jomai Faye would come, do one term, and then quietly walk away. And what irked him was that people then started campaigning within his own party, saying Sonko for 2029. And that kind of annoyed him. And he even went so far as to make a statement. He said, Senegal needs many things. What we don't need is a messiah or a savior. I mean, because they were kind of painting Sonko as he's the man who's going to save this country.
Right.
And Jomai Faye was quite annoyed by that. And this is kind of what has led to where we are now. And as we saw over the weekend, several PASTEF members have crossed over and joined him already. They've resigned from PASTEF. So Kemo is right. It is fluid, and you know, no position is solidified in concrete or in steel. Things can change, and we have till December a long way to go.
Yeah, we always say in political science that the only thing constant in politics is change.
It's change. Yeah.
Change. So people cannot expect parties to be like a building. Stretch, strong. Political parties are fluid. They have to change. They have to move. Politicians are also like that.
That is the view right now, and I think when it comes to relenting, because we are talking about compromise, people would expect smaller parties to relent instead of the other way around.
It's about how strongly are your persuasive skills.
Negotiators.
So if anybody's seen a movie called 12 Angry Men, Henry Fonda, go and watch it. It's on YouTube. It's a jury sitting in a room, and they have decided that this guy is guilty of murder. One juror says, actually I don't. And he starts picking apart one by one. By the end of the film, he has convinced all of them to change.
Wow.
the one guy against the 11. So it can happen. I know it's a movie, and it's but that movie was made to make a point.
Yeah, it's a message.
Now, just because you think you are in the minority, if you strongly hold on to your belief and you think that you can be persuasive enough, you can make others change and come to your side of your way
Except
of your way of
if some of
your
those
way of
beliefs are
thinking.
not realistic. You know, it's important also to believe in things that are realistic, the things that will happen.
Yeah, you have to be
Just
convinced.
illusion.
It's conviction. You have to have that, like the
I mean,
example.
Exactly.
You have to have
Even if it's
conviction.
unrealistic, convince me.
But but sometimes, here, like people have this whole notion of the majority minority. What is majority minority?
Yeah.
For me, it's about the idea. One person, like you can have a room of 10 people saying almost everything, and one person comes and makes more sense, and that person should be the one. It doesn't matter whether he's from the bigger, from the smaller, it is what should work and what makes sense.
For me, we've come to the end of the program. For me, my worry is now, political parties, when their leaders die, they die with them. I'm thinking, where is the APRC? Nobody's saying anything about the APRC now. So I don't understand.
But they have no alliance. They are still here. They are struggling. But that's it's the way also parties are set up.
Yeah.
If they build around individuals, that's usually
Thank
the
you.
case.
Thank you, Seth Mati, for coming and staying throughout the program. We appreciate it so much. Thank you. It's always, learning when you are here. We hear from you. Mr. Ade, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Yes, Mam Nabu, this is all we have for today. Yes, we'll be back here again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.